reminder of my darkest night. You just can't go back and make it right, 'cause it's too late, your time is up. Damage done and now it's stuck, 'cause it's too late. You roll the dice and now you have to pay the price. Yeah, I'm in a better place now. I'm not gonna worry, no, I'm not even sorry. You're gonna be the lonely one. I'm in a better place now. I'm not gonna worry, no, I'm not even sorry. You're gonna be the lonely one. Say it again, say it again. You're saying you feel bad, so say it again. Only you can do that. My heart was open wide, I could feel it breaking deep inside. 'Cause it's too late, your time is up. Damage done and now we're stuck. 'Cause it's too late, you roll the dice and now you have to pay the price. Oh, I'm in a better place now. I'm not gonna worry, no, I'm not even sorry. You're gonna be the lonely one. I'm in a better place now. I'm not gonna worry, no, I'm not even sorry. You're gonna be the lonely one. I'm in a better place now. I'm not gonna worry, no, I'm not even sorry. You're gonna be the lonely one. I'm in a better place now. I'm not gonna worry, I'm not even sorry. You're gonna be the lonely one.
There's nothing that I can say or do, and it seems that words won't change a lot. How can I make it through to you when these silly little words are all that I've got? We can try to just pretend I could hold you once again, 'cause I'm scared of feeling lost tonight. When I wake up, it's you that I think of. It's true, it's so obvious, but I'm holding back because you don't want me like I want you. You don't feel me like I feel you. Oh no. And I must confess that you don't touch me like I touch you. Never blush, baby, when I kiss you, but you don't. And I must confess that I wish I'd find someone new and forget about you. 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 There's only so much that we can save, like a storyline and a few cliches. When we break up, it's true that I'm making up this through. I don't wanna pass the buck, but we're in this place because you don't want me like I want you. You don't feel me like I want you.
Tired of marching. I'm tired of marching. Tired of marching for something that should have been mine at birth. I don't mind saying to you tonight. I don't mind saying to you tonight that I'm tired of the tension surrounding our days. I don't mind saying to you tonight that I'm tired of living every day under the threat of death. I have no martyr complex. I want to live as long as anybody in this building tonight, and sometimes I begin to doubt whether I'm going to make it through. I must confess I'm tired.
And much like Dr. King, I am tired tonight. And welcome back to the Unbought and Unbossed show, if I could only get that out tonight. Today is Tuesday, May the 11th, 2021, and I'm DaVante Goins, your host and managing editor. Much like Dr. King, as I was just saying, I am tired tonight. I am sick and tired of the same old, same old. I am sick and tired of demanding justice and not getting justice. I'm sick and tired of all the killings. I'm sick and tired of having to be in the streets protesting. I'm just sick and tired of being sick and tired. And we are going to take this mic off the stand here and just do the show like that, because it will not cooperate with me. I'm just sick and tired of being sick and tired, just like Dr. King was in that clip. And tonight, what we are going to be covering and talking about is how the Franklin County Commissioner Marilyn Brown resigned abruptly today. Her resignation will be finalized on Friday, which will be her last day, and she announced it as a retirement, much like Mitch Brown and Priscilla Tyson did a few weeks ago. But Marilyn Brown is a Franklin County Commissioner, and she serves with John O'Grady and Kevin Boyce, who is the chairman of the county commissioners, the Franklin County president, I believe he's called, not the chairman. But here's what you need to know about why she resigned, and then after I take you through that, I'm going to take you through why I think this process needs to be more transparent, and not just transparent, why I think we need to have a woman in color in this position. We're going to talk about all that and much more right after this break. Stay tuned.
My name is Julius Bailey, and I seek to become your next city commissioner here in Springfield, Ohio. A vote for me is a vote for clear-mindedness, sharp and detailed analysis, and a care for people. I'm not a typical politician. I'm an administrator, a teacher, a servant. I don't promise what I cannot deliver, and I don't scratch where I don't itch. I'm a builder, an observer of talent, an organizer of people and ideas. I listen first. I act cautiously with a swift desire to meet the practical needs of people. I'm not going to politicize whether wearing a mask in public to avoid the spread of coronavirus or if that is such a restriction of free speech. I simply care for myself and others. I'm not going to be afraid to say that Black lives do matter while also fully supporting those law enforcement officials who are committed to safety, respect, and honor to the badge. My pro-choice stance, it does not make me pro-abortion, and my advocacy for same-gendered loving couples earning access to all of civil rights, it don't make me non-Christian. Springfield, we have real problems. We must broaden our business and job-creating base. We must support colleges like Clark State and Wittenberg who seek to hone the talent, minds, bodies of our citizens to move us all toward greatness. You know, I want you to see what a political office ought to be. Springfield, Ohio. Let's build together.
If you're tired of mainstream media outlets selecting news stories and events that don't appeal to Black America, then become a member of the UnBossed Network today, where we are the voice of Black America and providing coverage of events and news stories that you won't hear anywhere else. Visit theunbossednetwork.com to become a member today.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Sorry, we had to take that quick commercial break. I had to get a new mic stand. It was no way I was going to be able to hold this mic the entire show. It just wasn't going to work like that. So what we are talking about on today's show, as I was just walking everybody through, is Marilyn Brown's resignation and what it means to the county and what it really means to Black Columbus and Black Franklin County residents. So here, let me take us through, let me give a little bit of a brief history about what county commissioners make. And then let me also give a little bit of a brief background about Marilyn Brown, and then we'll walk you through why she has cited her reasonings for resigning or retiring, as a lot of people are calling it. She has spent over 16 years in public office as a Franklin County Commissioner, and I think everybody should know that Franklin County Commissioners, they do make six-figure salaries. They make about $112,000 a year, and Brown's husband was the former Ohio Supreme Court Chief Justice and now current Columbus City School Board member Eric Brown. I think that's very critical to note, and everybody should be aware of who her husband is. But not just that, everybody should note this about the process, about what's about to happen. So with Marilyn Brown resigning or retiring on Friday, that will leave a vacancy on the Franklin County Board of Commissioners. There currently is 3 commissioners. The Franklin County Board of Commissioners is ran by the Democratic Party. There are 3 Democratic elected officials on that board. So Commissioner Marilyn Brown served or was serving with Commission President Kevin Boyce, as well as Commissioner John O'Grady. Now, knowing that this will leave a vacancy, here's what's going to happen in the coming days. It is expected that Commissioner O'Grady and Commissioner Boyce are going to get together and they're going to have a conversation. And in that conversation, they are going to discuss who they are going to appoint to fill her seat until the Franklin County Democratic Central Ward Committee makes their nomination and appointment. So in the coming days, Franklin County Commissioners John O'Grady and Kevin Boyce are going to appoint an interim commissioner to that seat. Then after that, in the coming weeks, preferably by the end of June, we are expecting that the Franklin County Democratic Central Committee will appoint a permanent replacement to Brown's seat. Now, it is worth noting that Marilyn Brown was going to be up for re-election next year. That is a pivotal point for everybody to know. Now that we know all of that, she is citing her reasoning for leaving is that she wants to spend more time with her family, and not only does she want to spend more time with her family, but she would also is citing health reasons for her resigning as well. Now, let me go into what and who I think should be the replacement to fill Marilyn Brown's seat. And here's why I think that. Number one, I think it's high time that the people who elect the officials and the people who make up the electorate here in the county begin to be represented in an elected office. Well, here's what I mean by that. I believe it's high time that a Black woman be named and be elected a Franklin County Commissioner. For the first time in our history several years ago, Kevin Boyce was the first African American or first Black person who was elected to the Franklin County Board of Commissioners. And now I think it's high time that he makes room for now the first Black female to be named. Now, some of you may be wondering, who do I think that commissioner should be? What Black female do I think should be named the commissioner? I don't know, but I think that we have enough brilliant Black political minds and Black non-political minds in this county that you can certainly find a Black female to take Marilyn Brown's seat. It definitely should be a woman, and I think it should be a Black woman. I'm just saying. Now, with that being said, I don't think it's enough just for John O'Grady and for Kevin Boyce to appoint a Black woman and for the Central Ward Committee to follow the same. What I think now should happen, along with them appointing a Black woman, is that there should be transparency in who and how this process is going to take place. Because as we all know here in the city of Columbus and really in Franklin County, that our beloved Democratic Party loves the appointment process. They love it. We just saw the same thing happen when Mitch Brown and Priscilla Tyson announced their retirements and resignations from council at the end of this term. And who we saw the appointments and the nomination process take place. Or was it really a process? It really wasn't a process because there wasn't any transparency into how that process was done. So what I would like to happen and what we are calling on the Central Ward Committee to do is to accept open nominations from the community. It is very, very, very important that the community, that the citizens have the right to nominate who they would like to be appointed to this position of Franklin County Commissioner. It's very, very critical. So I'm calling on each and every one of every single one of the Central Ward Committee members to make this demand happen. Because make no mistake, this is a demand for transparency. Because we here in Columbus, and forget just Black Columbus, we here in Columbus in general are tired of the corrupt, backdoor, shady room shit that goes on and how politics has been done in the past. It is 2021, and it's time for more transparency. And it's time for it to happen right now. We would like us as the citizens to be able to nominate people to Marilyn Brown's seat. And once you have a nomination period and you accept those nominations, then you interview those nominees. And through those interviews of the nominees, then you narrow down the list and you pick. And then each of the Central Ward Committee people, they pick their top choice out of the finalist selection. And whoever is the top vote getter out of those finalists is then who should be appointed to the Franklin County Board of Commissioners. Now, let me repeat that again for all of you in the back of the room who weren't following me, because that was a little too deep for some of y'all, because y'all don't listen and y'all don't pay attention. What the Central War Committee needs to do if they want this to be a fair, honest, and open and transparent process is they need to open up this appointment process for nominations. They need to allow the community, the citizens of Franklin County, to make nominations to who they would like to see fill Marilyn Brown's seat for the remainder of her term, because I just told y'all her term is up next year in 2022. Then after they have their nomination process, nominations are now closed. They interview all of those nominees and they come up with a list of finalists. Then after they come up with a list of their finalists, then each of the Central War Committee members should take a vote on those finalists. And whoever the top vote getter is should be appointed to Marilyn Brown's seat. Now, as David is pointing out here in the comments, that is transparency, but that isn't part of their process. David, you are exactly right. Transparency isn't part of their process. And that's what we need to start calling the Franklin County Board of Commissioners, calling them and calling the Central War Committee and calling the Franklin County Democratic Party, demanding is transparency in this process. We need to demand that we have the transparency that we are owed, because we're tired of the appointments happening. We're tired of the cronies that get appointed and they stay in office for 20, 30 years and do nothing for the community. We're sick and we're tired of that. We need to appoint not just someone who is going to do the job the right way to office, but we need to, as I just said, appoint somebody who looks like the community. We need to appoint a black woman to the seat. But if a black woman doesn't make the appointment process through the process, make the cut through the appointment process that I just laid out, that would be a transparent and fair process, it's all right. Because at least the process was fair, open, and transparent, and honest, and on the up and up. But can we really expect it to be on the up and up? Yes, we can, if we push and we call on our elected officials, because little do you all know, the Central War Committee members, they are elected. We have to vote for them. I bet y'all didn't know that, but we vote for them, the people who serve on the Central War Committee. But they don't represent and they don't do what we expect them to do. So they're going to appoint somebody, more than likely, who is a Democratic Party loyalist. But let me tell you why they need to appoint a change agent, a change maker, a progressive, and not somebody who's part of the establishment to the Franklin County Board of Commissioners. Because the Sheriff's Department, it's high time that they are put under a microscope and really looked at what's going on in that department. Why? Because they have still not come forward with why Jason Meade, who shot Casey Goodson Jr., is still employed within the sheriff's office. They aren't saying a word. Sheriff Dallas Baldwin, who was elected to the office of sheriff of the county's top cop, is saying we have to sit back and wait on the investigation. Well, I believe it's almost been, correct me if I'm wrong, we are almost going on 6 months of just sitting around and waiting. And I can't imagine the agony and the pain that Tamala Payne, the mother of Casey Goodson Jr., is going through at this very hour, knowing that Jason Meade is still on payroll and that our tax dollars are paying for him. Now, how you may be asking, how does that whole conversation fit into this whole conversation of Marilyn Brown retiring or resigning from her seat? Well, it fits in because the Franklin County Board of Commissioners, they oversee the budget. They basically are the boss and in charge of the Franklin County Sheriff's Office, much like City Council is in charge of the operating budget and saying how much money that the Columbus Division of Police gets. That's exactly what the Franklin County Board of Commissioners does for the Sheriff's Office in the Sheriff's Department. But you fundamentally aren't listening and trying to understand what I'm trying to tell you all. This is why we can't just accept another appointment or another crony being appointed to the Board of Commissioners. We don't need another loyalist, because if another loyalist gets appointed and this process isn't transparent, fair, honest, and open, Casey Goodson Jr. and his family and his mother, Tamla Payne, will never see the justice that they are due, because he was lynched in broad daylight for walking inside his house with Subway sandwiches. It's time that the Franklin County Democratic Party have a fair, open, and honest and transparent process to how they do these appointments. Now, it might not be the popular thing to say, but I am saying it here live tonight. We are calling them out. I'm calling, and this starts right now with not only the Central Ward Committee members, but this also goes to Commissioners John O'Grady and Commissioner Kevin Boyce. Somebody tag them in this live right now, in this broadcast, because they need to fundamentally see this, to know this is what the citizens of the county want. I've taken a lot of calls since the initial announcement of her resignation came out a little after 10 o'clock this morning. I've taken a ton of calls, talked to a lot of you, calling me and texting me and DMing me and emailing me about what I thought about this and about who you wanted to see elected. And that's why it was pivotal and critical for us to cover this story tonight and right now, as we are calling for a fair and honest and open and transparent process to this appointment process, because if we didn't do it, nobody else was. You aren't going to see them call for a fair, open, and honest and transparent process on Channel 4, on Channel 10, on Channel 6, or on the dispatch, in the dispatch. They just aren't going to do it. But we're going to do it here on the Unbossed Network, because we are unafraid and we are unapologetically not only Black, but willing to call for the truth and unapologetically willing to call out wrong when it is wrong. What I told you at the beginning when we launched this network and when this show was launched over a year ago is that I had one philosophy in life. And that philosophy was, if you do wrong, I'm going to talk about you and call you out. If you do right, I'm going to talk about you. Chances are, no matter what, I'm going to talk about you. So you better be doing right when I talk about you, because no matter what, I'm going to talk about you and call you out. And that's essentially what we are doing here and right now, is calling out Commissioners John O'Grady and Commissioners Kevin Boyce and the entire Franklin County Democratic Party and the entire Franklin County Democratic Central Ward Committee, saying that we want a fair, open, and honest appointment process. And we want to be able to submit nominations to who we want to see fill the seat of Marilyn Brown. That's all we want, is honesty and transparency. Is that too much to ask out of our elected officials and too much to ask for and to see in government in 2021? I guess that is. The Democrats try and blame everything on the Republicans and talk about how bad the Republicans are and how bad the conservatives are. But the way I see it, here in Franklin County, here in the city of Columbus, the Democrats are no worse than the Republicans. The Democrats are no worse than the Republicans. And in a lot of ways, the Democrats are worse than the Republicans here in Franklin County. Because many of you may not realize and many of you may not know that Franklin County is ran by a political machine. And that political machine is the Democratic Party. And we have been ran by the Democratic political machine for ages. And now it's time for that machine to come to an end. But the only way it's going to come to an end is if we stand and we link arm in arm and we call out these injustices when they are going on. And if the only way to think of this as an injustice is to inform you all and to tell you all the only way we can get justice for Casey Goodson Jr. is if we put a progressive, if we try and get a black female, not if we only try and get those two things, but we have to have a fair, honest, and open and transparent appointment process. That's the only way we're going to get justice for Casey Goodson Jr. because apparently Dallas Baldwin and the current commissioners aren't willing to fire Jason Meade for him killing and murdering Brother Casey. If that's the only way to get you all to stand up and do something about this, well, that's what we're going to have to do. Is to paint the picture and to show you all however all of this is intertwined at the end of the day. But you all don't want to have that conversation. But we're going to have that conversation tonight. We're going to have that conversation in the here and now and forever in the future. Because nothing changes if nothing changes. Nothing changes if nothing changes. And I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of the same thing happening. I'm sick and tired of begging and protesting for change and us not getting change. One of the demands, after all, the protesters have when they're protesting and they're sprouting off and they're saying what their list of demands are is to not only see Dallas Baldwin's resignation or firing, but to also defund the sheriff's department and to also fire Jason Meade. But you can't do this if you don't recognize how the game is played. Now, I'm trying to teach you and I'm trying to get you all to understand how we all are going to see those changes made with Dallas Baldwin being fired or recalled, however we want to do it, seeing the sheriff's department be defunded or abolished, as the protesters say. I don't think they should be abolished, but I do think they should be defunded. But not just that, how Jason Meade is going to get fired as if we call for an open and honest and transparent process and who the next appointment is going to be, because this is how the game is played. This is what y'all don't recognize is game recognizes game. And because the protesters and because Black Columbus and because poor Columbus, we don't understand how the game is played. And we don't play the game how the game should be played, we never get the justice that is not only due to us, but owed to us, and that we demand because we don't understand how the game works. Is it right that the game works that way and that the game is played this way? No, it is not. But that's the hand we have at this moment, and this is how we need to go about it to have change and to see change made. Now, I And if anybody is friends with her, I implore somebody to send her this link to this broadcast right now. The city councilwoman in Reynoldsburg, Meredith Rowe, I believe her name is. I think she would be a phenomenal replacement for Meredith. I'm sorry, not for Meredith, but for Marilyn Brown. Marilyn Rowe, a black sister, a good sister, a progressive sister in Reynoldsburg, bringing about mad change right now. And everywhere I go, everybody's saying, DaVante, you got to have Meredith on. You got to have Meredith on. We're working to get her on actively. But right now, if Meredith is open to it, I think we need to find out how we can get her into this whole appointment process to get appointed to that seat. But in the meantime, in between time, we need to be calling the Franklin County Democratic Party. Not only do we need to be calling the Franklin County Democratic Party, we need to be emailing them. We need to be reaching out to them on social media. We need to be raising all hell to tell them we want an open and transparent process. And we not only need to reach out to the Democratic Party, as I just said, but we need to reach out to the offices of John O'Grady, who is the Franklin County Commissioner, and Kevin Boyce, and to tell them we want an open and fair, transparent process. Simple as that. We need to put our theoretical political knee on their back and allow them to feel the pressure. That's what we need to do at this hour and at this juncture, because whether you all realize it or not, I just tried to tell you all and try to inform you all that by the end of next week, no later, that John O'Grady and Kevin Boyce are going to get together and they are going to name and appoint an interim person to fill the seat of Marilyn Brown until the Central Ward Committee can make their appointment. So we need to let them know that we aren't going to stand for them doing what they've been doing in the dark. We aren't going to stand for this any longer. We want a fair, open, and honest and transparent process. That's what we want, and that's what we are demanding, and no less. We want it now, and we want it forever. More. That's all we want is transparency, honesty, and dignity, and fairness. Watch this space.
Welcome to Cardwell Mobile Notary Service. I'm Leandra Cardwell. I run a full-service mobile notary company. We specialize in apostille, loan closings, structured settlements, and more. Wherever you are, I'll be there. Even in your home, I'll be there. At the hospital, I'll be there. Nursing homes, I'll be there. At the library, I'll be there. Coffee shops, you pick, and I'll be there. And yes, even remotely too, I'll be there. To submit a request on our website, don't forget to locate us on Facebook and give us a call at 614-999-0149, and I'll be there.
If you're tired of mainstream media outlets selecting news stories and events that don't appeal to Black America, then become a member of the UnBossed Network today, where we are the voice of Black America and providing coverage of events and news stories that you won't hear anywhere else. Visit theunbossednetwork.com to become a member today.
Best in me when everyone else around could only see the worst in me. Oh Lord, He saw the best in me. She did. When everyone else around could only see the worst in me. I wish I had witnesses in this place today. Oh Lord, see, He is mine. and I am his, and it doesn't matter what I did. See, he only sees me for who I am. See, he is mine, and I am his, and it doesn't matter what I did. He only sees me for who I am. He saw the best, the best, the best, the best.